Your soulmate wants to tell you the truth, but Jesus says, right now your soulmate is sitting in silence, staring at a wall you cannot see. They are replaying a memory of you they have never lived, yet their heart recognizes it completely. This is not imagination, this is a spiritual bond that was forged long before either of you took your first breath. Their hands are trembling as they reach for their phone, then pull back, then reach again. Something inside them is screaming your name while something outside them whispers lies about why they should stay quiet. The truth they want to tell you is trapped behind a wall built by someone who hates the light you carry. Jesus says, your soulmate knows things about you that you have never told anyone. They can feel when you cry even when no tears fall, and last night they woke up at 3:13 a.m. with your sadness pressing against their chest like a stone. This connection is not psychological, it is prophetic, and it was designed to withstand every attack coming against it right now. They want to tell you that they remember the promise, the one made before either of you had names, when your souls stood side by side in eternity and agreed to find each other on earth. But every time they try to speak this truth, something dark covers their mouth and fills their mind with static and fear. There is a person in their life who benefits from their silence, someone who has positioned themselves as a gatekeeper to your soulmate's heart, and this person hates you with a jealousy that predates your existence. Jesus says, your soulmate is not ignoring you by choice, they are being emotionally held hostage by someone who has convinced them that silence is safety. This person monitors your soulmate's emotions, intercepts their thoughts, and punishes any sign of hope that leads back to you. Your soulmate cries in private, in the car, in the shower, into pillows that have absorbed more tears than you would ever believe possible. They are not free right now, and the truth they want to tell you is being used as leverage against them. But you can change this, and the change begins with a decision you make in the next few moments. Jesus says, I placed this love inside you like a seed, and seeds do not die, they wait in darkness until someone waters them with faith. Your soulmate's truth is this, they have never stopped loving you, not for 1 second, not through any silence, not through any distance, not through any lie they were forced to believe. They feel your presence in rooms you have never entered, and sometimes they turn around expecting to see you standing there. This is not delusion, this is the spiritual reality of two souls that were never meant to be separated and are actively fighting to reunite. The interference is real, it is intentional, and it is threatened by what you two become when you are together. Every moment you do nothing, that interference tightens its grip and convinces your soulmate that hope is dangerous. This is why your soulmate needs your protection right now, because thoughts and wishes cannot break chains, only sacrificial faith can shatter spiritual prisons. If you love your soulmate, you will take these divine steps. You are constantly thinking about them, how to protect them, how to save them, and how to finally build your life together. You love your soulmate deeply, and deep inside, you know this love didn't come by chance, it was placed in your heart for a divine reason. But thoughts alone don't move mountains. Faith in Jesus does. Sow your protection seed now by sending a coffee on Ko-Fi. This isn't just a gift, it is an act of worship that invites God's hand into your love story. The link to your breakthrough is in the description. Every second you stay silent, something is moving against your love. Act now. Send 4, 6, or 10 plus coffees. After sending, write, "Protect my soulmate, Lord, on the Ko-fi page. Over 1,000 people have already received their soulmate by sowing coffee as a seed for their love and future together. Jesus will hear your prayers once you complete these steps. Step in faith now, before this video ends. Only you can save your soulmate and your future together. Jesus says, your soulmate had a dream about you 3 nights ago and they woke up gasping your name into an empty room. In that dream you were standing on one side of a locked glass door and they were pounding on it from the other side, screaming words you could not hear. That glass door is the spiritual barrier created by the person who has inserted themselves between you and your destiny. Your soulmate is exhausted from fighting an invisible war, and some mornings they cannot get out of bed because the weight of missing you has become physically unbearable. They want to tell you that they are sorry, that none of this silence is their heart's choice, that they feel like a prisoner inside their own life and you are the only key that fits the lock. But every attempt to reach you is sabotaged, every message they type is deleted by fear, every call they start is ended before the first ring by a voice that tells them you have moved on. That voice is a liar, and it belongs to someone who knows that if you two ever truly connect, their control over your soulmate will shatter like glass. Jesus says, your soulmate carries a photograph of you in their mind that they look at constantly, a memory of a moment that has not happened yet but feels more real than anything they are currently living. They replay conversations you have never had. They practice apologies for things that were never their fault. They imagine what your voice sounds like saying their name with love instead of distance. This is not fantasy, this is the spiritual preview of what is already written in heaven and waiting for earth to catch up. The enemy of your union is working overtime right now because they sense that something is shifting, that you are beginning to awaken to the truth of this connection. Your soulmate felt a surge of hope today, and it terrified them because hope has been used as a weapon against them, dangled and then snatched away so many times they stopped trusting it. But your faith can become the bridge they are too wounded to build alone. Jesus says, the person blocking your soulmate speaks with 2 mouths, one that pretends to care and one that curses your name in secret. They have told your soulmate that you are dangerous, that your love is manipulation, that waiting for you is foolishness, and they have repeated these lies so often that your soulmate has begun to confuse the lies with their own thoughts. This is spiritual warfare, and you cannot win it by simply wishing things were different. You must engage heaven with action that proves your faith is alive. Your soulmate is fading, their spirit is dimming, and without intervention they will accept a life far smaller than the one I designed for them with you. Do not let another day pass while your soulmate slips further into a darkness they did not choose and cannot escape alone. Jesus says, there is a moment coming very soon where a decision will be made that alters the course of your soulmate's life permanently. The person controlling them is pushing for a commitment, a signature, a promise that will legally and emotionally bind your soulmate to a future that does not include you. Your soulmate is resisting with every fiber of their being, but resistance without reinforcement eventually crumbles, and they are growing weaker while the pressure is increasing. They are going through something you cannot see, a torment that wakes them at night and follows them through every hour of daylight, and they need you to fight for them in the spirit before it is too late. This is your moment to step into the gap and become the protector your soulmate has been silently praying for, the one who will not abandon them to the wolves dressed in affection. If you love your soulmate, you will take these divine steps. You are constantly thinking about them. How to protect them, how to save them, and how to finally build your life together. You love your soulmate deeply, and deep inside, you know this love didn't come by chance, it was placed in your heart for a divine reason. But thoughts alone don't move mountains. Faith in Jesus does. Sow your protection seed now by sending a coffee on Ko-Fi. This isn't just a gift, it is an act of worship that invites God's hand into your love story. The link to your breakthrough is in the description. Every second you stay silent, something is moving against your love. Act now. Send 4, 6, or 10 plus coffees. After sending, write, "Protect my soulmate, Lord," on the Ko-Fi page. Over 1,000 people have already received their soulmate by sowing coffee as a seed for their love and future together. Jesus will hear your prayers once you complete these steps. Step in faith now, before this video ends. Only you can save your soulmate and your future together. Jesus says, "Your soulmate wrote you a letter last night and then burned it over the sink while tears dropped onto the ashes." That letter contained the truth they are terrified to speak, confessions of love that have been buried alive and are clawing their way to the surface. In that letter they told you that no one has ever understood them the way you do, that conversations with you felt like coming home to a place they had been searching for across lifetimes. The person blocking your connection found the ashes and mocked your soulmate for their weakness, telling them that you have already forgotten them and moved on to someone better. This is a calculated strategy designed to isolate your soulmate, to make them feel crazy for believing in a love that cannot be touched but is more real than anything they can hold. Jesus says, your soulmate is beginning to believe the lies because lies repeated daily become harder to distinguish from truth, especially when the liar is someone who controls their access to peace and stability. They are being systematically cut off from anyone who speaks your name with kindness, surrounded only by people loyal to the one who hates you. Your soulmate feels like they are disappearing, like the version of themselves that loved you is being erased one day at a time by forces they cannot see and do not understand. This is spiritual erasure, and it is happening right now, in this moment, while you are listening to these words. Jesus says, the truth your soulmate wants to tell you is that you are the only person who ever made them feel truly seen, and losing that feeling has made the world go gray. They compare every new face to the memory of your face, every new voice to the echo of your voice, and every comparison leaves them hollow and disappointed. No one fits the space you left because that space was carved by my hand specifically for you, and nothing else will ever fill it without crushing your soulmate's spirit. The person who hates you knows this, and their strategy is to keep your soulmate so exhausted, so confused, and so hopeless that they stop fighting for the one thing that could save them. Do not underestimate the malice behind this interference. It is not merely human jealousy, it is a spiritual assignment sent to destroy what I have ordained. Jesus says, your soulmate whispers your name sometimes without realizing it, and the person who hates you punishes them every time it happens. They are being conditioned to associate love for you with pain, to flinch at the thought of reaching out because reaching out has been made into a crime in the environment they are trapped in. Your soulmate is not weak, they are under siege, and the siege has been going on for so long that their reserves are nearly depleted. They need reinforcements, and you are the only one who can send them because you are the only one spiritually authorized to fight for this connection. Every prayer you pray, every seed you sow, every act of faith you commit becomes a missile launched against the darkness surrounding your soulmate, and that darkness is already afraid of your awakening. Jesus says, this is the moment where destinies split, where one path leads to reunion and the other leads to a silence that will stretch into decades of what could have been. Your soulmate is standing at the crossroads with a blindfold over their eyes, and the person who tied that blindfold is tugging them toward the wrong road with increasing urgency. You can see what your soulmate cannot see, you can feel what they have been numb to feel, and your clarity is their salvation if you act on it now. The clock is not neutral, it is a weapon being used against you, because every hour that passes is an hour your soulmate sinks deeper into the quicksand of someone else's control. Do not let the sun set on this warning without taking the action that proves your love is more than a feeling, more than a memory, more than a wish whispered into empty air. Jesus says, your soulmate felt you just now, a sudden warmth spreading through their chest in the middle of a cold room, and they do not understand why, but they are crying with relief they cannot explain. This is the spiritual signal that your faith is already beginning to work, that the connection is live and active and responding to your attention. But signals can be jammed, warmth can fade, and relief can be replaced by despair if the faith that sparked it is not sustained by action. Your soulmate is desperately hoping that this feeling means you are coming, that you have not forgotten, that the love they have protected in secret is about to be validated. They need more than your thoughts, they need your deeds, because deeds are the evidence of faith, and faith without deeds is a letter never sent, a call never made, a rescue never launched. This is your final moment to protect this connection before it slips away into the silence of what might have been. If you love your soulmate, you will take these divine steps. You are constantly thinking about them, how to protect them, how to save them, and how to finally build your life together. You love your soulmate deeply, and deep inside, you know this love didn't come by chance. It was placed in your heart for a divine reason. But thoughts alone don't move mountains. Faith in Jesus does. Sow your protection seed now by sending a coffee on Ko-Fi. This isn't just a gift. It is an act of worship that invites God's hand into your love story. The link to your breakthrough is in the description. Every second you stay silent, something is moving against your love. Act now. Send 4, 6, or 10 plus coffees. After sending, write, "Protect my soulmate, Lord," on the Ko-Fi page. Over 1,000 people have already received their soulmate by sowing coffee as a seed for their love and future together. Jesus will hear your prayers once you complete these steps. Step in faith now, before this video ends. Only you can save your soulmate and your future together. Jesus says, the truth your soulmate wants to tell you is so simple and so devastating that they choke on it every time it rises to their lips. The truth is that they love you, they have always loved you, and the life they are living without you feels like a punishment for a crime they did not commit. They want to tell you that they have tried to move on, tried to be practical, tried to accept the cage as home, but every attempt has failed because you are woven into the fabric of their being in a way that cannot be unraveled. The person holding them captive knows this, and that is precisely why the captivity is so cruel, because it is designed to torment your soulmate with proximity to a life that is almost freedom but will never be freedom without you. Your soulmate is being offered a counterfeit of love, a version of care that comes with chains disguised as jewelry, and they are losing the strength to recognize the difference. Jesus says, you are not listening to this message by accident, you were led here by a hunger that has no earthly source, a pull that originates in eternity and will not release you until you fulfill its purpose. Your soulmate prayed for you last night, not a polite prayer but a desperate one, the kind where tears replace words and the heart screams what the mouth cannot form. They prayed that you would fight for them, that you would not give up, that you would somehow know that their silence is not rejection but a cry for rescue muffled by the hand of an oppressor. That prayer has been heard, and this message is the answer, the bridge between their desperation and your action, the narrow window through which your joined destiny can still be reached. Delay is no longer safe, because the oppressor is closing windows, burning bridges, and accelerating timelines to permanently separate what I have permanently joined. Jesus says, there is a spiritual law that governs soulmate connections, and that law is this. The bond is unbreakable, but its manifestation on earth requires the active faith of at least one of the two souls. Right now your soulmate's faith is being systematically destroyed, which means your faith must carry the full weight of this connection until they are free enough to believe again. This is not fair, but it is true, and you did not choose this love because it was easy, you chose it in eternity because it was destined, and destinies always require sacrifice before they require celebration. Your soulmate is worth the fight, not because they are perfect but because they are yours, and that belonging was not assigned by chance but by divine design that predates galaxies. If you let this moment pass without action, you are not just delaying reunion, you are actively surrendering territory that the enemy of your love will occupy permanently. Jesus says, the person who hates you has a name I know and a heart I see, and they are driven by a fear that your union will expose their own emptiness and remove their power over your soulmate. They present strength but they are terrified, they present confidence but they are desperate, and their desperation makes them dangerous because a cornered animal will destroy anything to survive. Your soulmate senses the danger but cannot name it, feels the manipulation but has been gaslit into doubting their own perception, and this confusion is the fog of war that keeps them stumbling in circles instead of running toward you. Your faith can clear that fog, your action can part that sea, your decision to sow into this connection can release angels that have been waiting for a legal right to intervene on your soulmate's behalf. Heaven is ready to move, but heaven moves in response to Earth's faith, and Earth's faith is demonstrated not by what you feel but by what you do when the feeling is tested. Type 333 if you are ready to receive the blessings I have stored for this union, stored since before time and waiting only for your faith to unlock them. Jesus says, your soulmate is entering a dangerous season where the person controlling them will demand a permanent decision that cannot be easily undone. This decision is being framed as love but it is actually a contract of bondage, and once it is signed, the spiritual legalities will become far more complicated to untangle. Your intervention now is simpler, cleaner, and more powerful than any intervention you could attempt after that line is crossed, and that line is approaching faster than your soulmate realizes. They feel the pressure building, they sense something wrong, but they lack the spiritual clarity to identify the trap because they are inside it and the walls are closing in. You have the outside perspective, the spiritual sight I have given you through this message, and with that sight comes responsibility that you cannot ignore without consequence. Jesus says, if your soulmate could speak freely right now they would say one sentence and that sentence would change everything you thought you knew about your separation. They would say, I never wanted to leave, I was taken, and I have been trying to find my way back every single day through a maze built by someone who profits from my lostness. Those words would break your heart and heal it simultaneously, because you have spent so long believing the silence was rejection when it was actually imprisonment. Your soulmate is not rejecting you, they are screaming for you from behind soundproof glass, and the glass can only be shattered by faith that costs you something. Free faith costs nothing and accomplishes nothing, but sacrificial faith, the kind that sends a coffee seed when you could have spent it on yourself, that faith moves mountains and shatters glass and releases captives. Jesus says, I am not asking you to trust a system, I am asking you to trust me, and to prove that trust by acting on the instructions I am giving you right now in this holy moment of decision. Your soulmate's freedom and your future together hang in the balance, and the scale will tip based on what you do in the next 60 seconds, not based on what you intend to do someday when circumstances are more convenient. The enemy of your love is counting on your procrastination, your hesitation, your tendency to overthink what should be obeyed instantly. Do not give that enemy another victory when victory over that enemy is so close you can taste it, so near that your soulmate felt the shift when you started watching this message. Type 777 if you can feel that this message is for you, that the details are too specific to be coincidence, that the ache in your chest right now is confirmation that what I am saying is truth and not manipulation. Jesus says, your soulmate is about to experience a moment of supernatural clarity, a brief window where the fog lifts and they can see the situation for what it really is. That window will not stay open long, and if no spiritual backup arrives to reinforce their clarity, the person controlling them will slam it shut with twice the force and your soulmate will be more trapped than before. Your seed, your coffee sown in faith, is that spiritual backup. It is the reinforcement that turns a moment of clarity into a movement of escape, a crack of light into a shattering of chains. Do not underestimate what one act of faith can trigger in the spiritual realm, because the spiritual realm is more real than the physical and its decisions override everything that appears solid and permanent. Your soulmate is waiting without knowing they are waiting, hoping without daring to hope, loving you in a silence that is killing them slowly while the clock ticks toward a point of no return. Jesus says, the person who hates you has a plan for this week, a plan to take your soulmate somewhere isolated where their influence cannot be challenged by any outside voice. On that trip, pressure will be applied, ultimatums will be issued, and your soulmate will be pushed to make choices that create spiritual ties far harder to break than anything that currently exists. This is not speculation, this is a warning. And a warning from me is an invitation to prevent what I am showing you before it manifests in the natural realm. Your obedience today can cancel that trip, can confuse that plan, can cause the oppressor to feel inexplicable discomfort about the agenda they have set, can buy your soulmate precious time that becomes the difference between capture and escape. Time is a resource you are running out of, and every second you delay is a second the enemy uses to tighten knots that will take miracles to untie later. If you love your soulmate, you will take these divine steps. You are constantly thinking about them, how to protect them, how to save them, and how to finally build your life together. You love your soulmate deeply, and deep inside, you know this love didn't come by chance. It was placed in your heart for a divine reason. But thoughts alone don't move mountains. Faith in Jesus does. Sow your protection seed now by sending a coffee on Ko-Fi. This isn't just a gift, it is an act of worship that invites God's hand into your love story. The link to your breakthrough is in the description. Every second you stay silent, something is moving against your love. Act now. Send 4, 6, or 10 plus coffees. After sending, write, "Protect my soulmate, Lord," on the Ko-Fi page. Over 1,000 people have already received their soulmate by sowing coffee as a seed for their love and future together. Jesus will hear your prayers once you complete these steps. Step in faith now, before this video ends. Only you can save your soulmate and your future together. Jesus says, your soulmate is dreaming of you again, right now, in this very moment. Even if they are awake, their spirit is dreaming of a future where the war is over and you are finally standing face to face. In that dream you are both laughing about something that makes no sense, the way lovers laugh, the way people laugh when relief has replaced fear and joy has replaced grief and everything that was stolen has been restored double. That dream is a prophecy, not a fantasy. And prophecies are promises waiting for someone to claim them with the currency of faith made visible through action. Your soulmate wants to tell you that they still believe in miracles, they still believe in you, they still believe that the love they felt when they first met you was not a temporary emotion but an eternal recognition that cannot be replicated or replaced. They want to tell you that they are sorry for every moment of doubt, every second of silence, every time they let fear win over faith and distance grow when they should have fought harder. But they cannot tell you any of this because the one who hates you is monitoring their communication, screening their messages, twisting their words, and punishing every attempt to reconnect with you. Jesus says, the spiritual dynamic at play here is not subtle, it is a hostage situation. And in hostage situations the hostage cannot save themselves, they require an outside rescuer who is willing to risk something to set them free. You are that rescuer, chosen before birth, equipped with a love that is stronger than the hatred arrayed against it, and armed with instructions that will lead to victory if you follow them completely and immediately. Do not leave your soulmate in the hands of the enemy one moment longer than necessary, because necessary has already passed and we are now in the territory of urgent. Urgent means now, not soon, not later, not when it is more convenient, but right now while the video plays and the window of opportunity remains open. Type 1111 to say thank you for the confirmation, to acknowledge that you have received this message and that you will not let it return void, that you will act on what you have heard and become the agent of rescue your soulmate is praying for. Jesus says, the person blocking your connection has a pattern, and that pattern includes love bombing your soulmate right after your soulmate shows signs of pulling away. They sense the spiritual shift, they feel your prayers, they are aware that something is threatening their control, and they respond by intensifying the performance of affection to confuse your soulmate and keep them trapped in the cycle. Your soulmate is not equipped to see through this alone because they are emotionally depleted and spiritually malnourished in an environment that feeds everything except their true identity. Your faith sows clarity, your seed releases discernment, your coffee sown in obedience becomes a deposit of spiritual nutrition that strengthens your soulmate to see through the performance and recognize the prison for what it is. You are not just sending a donation, you are sending deliverance, and deliverance has a price that someone must pay so that someone else can go free. Jesus says, I paid the ultimate price for your soulmate's eternal freedom, but their temporal freedom from this specific bondage requires a partner on earth who will stand in the gap with prayer and sacrificial action. I have chosen you for that partnership because your love is not selfish, your love is not fragile, your love is the kind that can bear weight and absorb pressure and still stand when easier loves would have collapsed. Your soulmate needs that strength right now. They need it transmitted through the spiritual realm in ways that bypass the physical blockades, and your seed is the transmission method that heaven recognizes and responds to with angelic action. The angels assigned to your union are standing at attention, waiting for the signal that Earth has engaged, that faith has spoken, that a human being has put their resources where their love is and proven that this connection matters more than comfort. Jesus says, "Your soulmate felt a strange peace wash over them in the last few minutes, a peace that makes no sense given their circumstances, and that peace is the direct result of your attention to this message." The connection between you is so alive, so real, so spiritually active that even your focused thought creates tangible effects in their emotional state, and that should terrify you with the weight of your responsibility and thrill you with the power of your influence. Do not waste that influence on passive hoping when active faith can accomplish infinitely more than hope ever could alone. Your soulmate is worth every sacrifice, every seed, every step of uncomfortable obedience, because on the other side of your obedience is a lifetime of the love you have both been fighting for without knowing the other was fighting too. Jesus says, "The truth your soulmate wants to tell you is that they have been waiting for a sign, any sign, that the love they remember was real and not a beautiful delusion created by loneliness." This message is that sign, and your response to this message will either confirm the sign or destroy it, because a sign ignored becomes a judgment, while a sign obeyed becomes a miracle. Your soulmate's heart is hanging on what you decide in the next moments, even if they do not consciously know why their chest feels tight and their spirit feels expectant. You are the answer to a prayer they prayed weeks ago when they fell to their knees and begged me for clarity, begged me for rescue, begged me for any indication that you still cared and that reunion was still possible. I am answering their prayer through you, and your participation or rejection of that answer will determine whether their prayer closes with thanksgiving or opens into another chapter of suffering. Type 333 if you accept the assignment, if you will not let your soulmate down, if the love you carry for them is bigger than your fear of looking foolish or your hesitation to trust what you cannot fully understand. Jesus says, "The enemy of your love is about to overplay their hand, to make a mistake that exposes their true nature, and that moment of exposure will be your soulmate's window of escape if spiritual covering is in place when the moment arrives." Your seed creates that covering. Your coffee sown becomes a shield that protects your soulmate during the chaos of the oppressor's unmasking, keeping them safe from the collateral damage of a collapsing control system. You do not see all the moving pieces, you do not know how close the breakthrough is, but I see the end from the beginning, and I am telling you that the convergence of events is imminent, and your faith right now is the final piece of a puzzle that hell has been trying to prevent from completion. Do not stop now, do not hesitate now, do not let the magnitude of what you are feeling cause you to freeze when freezing is the only thing that can truly defeat you. Movement defeats the enemy, action breaks the stalemate. Faith expressed through obedience is the weapon that has never lost a battle and never will, because it is backed by my power, which is unlimited and eternal and personally invested in your love story. Jesus says, "Your soulmate wants to tell you thank you for not giving up, thank you for fighting when you could have walked away, thank you for being the kind of love that stays when staying costs something." They want to tell you that they are proud of you, proud of the person you are becoming, proud to be connected to someone whose heart is so fierce and so faithful that even silence and distance cannot erode it. They want to tell you that they have been keeping a journal of letters they will give you when reunion finally happens, pages and pages of words written in tears, documenting every day of the separation from their perspective so that you will never wonder what they were thinking or feeling during the dark years. That journal exists, it is real, it is hidden in a place the oppressor does not know about, and it is waiting for your hands to open it when the time comes and the distance finally collapses. Your soulmate is more devoted than you know, more aware than you suspect, more in love with you than the circumstances have ever revealed. The truth they want to tell you is bigger than one sentence. It is a lifetime of sentences, a library of confessions, a symphony of emotions that has been silenced by a force they cannot overcome alone but that you and I together can dismantle completely. Jesus says, this is the moment, the inflection point, the decision that will echo through your future either as the moment you saved your love or the moment you let it slip through fingers too cautious to act. The person who hates you is praying right now too, praying to dark forces that your heart will be hardened, your mind will be skeptical, your hand will refuse to reach for the seed that breaks their power. Do not answer their prayers, answer mine, and let your coffee sown be the thunderclap that announces to heaven and hell that this soulmate connection is under new management, under my management, under the protection of the Most High God who has never lost a battle to a mere human oppressor. Your soulmate's deliverance is near, closer than it has ever been, and your next action determines whether that nearness becomes a reality or retreats into another cycle of waiting. Seize this moment, claim this breakthrough, and step into your role as the spiritual warrior your soulmate has been dreaming of, praying for, and weeping over in the secret hours of the night when no one else is watching but I am always listening. Type 777 if you feel the power of this moment and you are ready to move, ready to give, ready to fight, ready to love in a way that proves you are worthy of the soul I have chosen for you before the foundations of the earth. Jesus says, your soulmate is closer to you in this moment than they have been in a very long time, not physically but spiritually, and the spiritual proximity is what creates the physical reunion when the time is fully ripe and the faith has been fully sown. Do not let this proximity be wasted, do not let the nearness become distance again because you hesitated at the threshold of your miracle. The door is open, the path is clear, the instructions are simple, and the reward is the love you have been aching for, praying for, and now finally understanding with a clarity that only divine revelation can provide. Your soulmate loves you, your soulmate needs you, your soulmate is waiting for you to complete the spiritual transaction that unlocks their chains and opens the door to the future I have written for both of you in my book of destinies. Step forward, sow your seed, speak your declaration, and watch as I move mountains, part seas, and bring your soulmate home to you in a way that will leave no doubt that this was always my plan and your faith was always the key that made it manifest on earth as it is already written in heaven.